Hello everyone, welcome to day 2, night 2 of my broadcasts. So for tonight I have some really juicy information to share with you all, and the topic is sensuality. So yesterday I did talk a little bit about what is sexuality, and for those of you who weren't tuned in yesterday, you can find my replays on Catch Me. They are there permanently for you to watch whenever you need a refresher, or if you just have a comment that you missed, go back, watch it. But our sexuality is part of who we are. It is intrinsic to our nature as human beings, and sensuality is just one aspect of what encompasses our sexuality. So as I mentioned yesterday, I will be doing a series of talks about sexuality, and really, hi, Wizen, hi Betty, thanks for joining again. Awesome, I have 18 followers right now, this is great. So I will be talking about a series of things. Sensuality is one of the 6 circles of sexuality. And when I talk about the 6 circles of sexuality, I wanted to give you guys a visual of what they are. And this is what it is. They come from Dennis Daly. He's a PhD in sexuality, and I just wanted to share that resource. You can quickly Google circles of sexuality and it pops right up. You can learn from that sheet. But on these talks, I'm gonna go a little more into depth, and it's gonna be interactive. So I want you guys to share as I go along, what comes up for you and what is maybe blocking you from getting in touch with your sensuality, right? So to define it, first thing is first. So sensuality, it involves how you accept yourself, your body, and also how you accept other bodies. And you might say, thank you, Betty. Definitely, some people are more in tune with their sensuality, right? Body image is part of your sensuality. So if you're a really confident person in your body, I know a lot of people practice yoga, and yoga is all about connecting to the body, and I talked a little bit about that this morning, but I want to just emphasize how important it is for you to really be in touch with your body and really accept it for what and who it is, right? This is our vessel, our vehicle for expression in this world. It is a unique body, right? Imagine if the world was just the same, right? If everyone was the same, I would be bored. Really, really bored. Can I get some thumbs up if you would be bored? Would you be bored? Yeah, Betty says yes. Anyone else? You would be bored. So just tuning in, welcome, welcome. Yeah, so I'm talking tonight about sensuality, and thus far we've covered, sensuality is really connecting to that awareness of who you are in your body, right? Acceptance of your body, but also of other bodies, right? So this is one of the things, and later on I'll give you a sneak peek just because it came up, but later on we're going to talk about how if you're not connected to your sensuality, it can really limit relationships. And I'm not just talking about romance. I'm talking about day-to-day interactions at work, in your personal life, with your family. Thank you for the dimples. One thing I do want to note is this is a space, yes, we are talking about sex, sexuality, sensuality, many topics that are taboo. However, this is not a space to just, throw things out there without really being respectful. So if you're not respectful, I will block you, or someone else will block you, so you will be blocked. So please keep the comments respectful. If you have questions about something like masturbation or or anything else, you know, anything. This is an open space, but be respectful in how you ask the questions. So back to sensuality. You know, I mentioned, and if you follow me on Twitter, I gave kind of a sneak peek of some of the things that I will be discussing tonight, but I want to talk about the components of sexuality and sensuality. So part of sensuality is really what is, you know, your perception of your own body, you know, but also everything that we interact with adds and contributes to our sensuality. My Twitter handle is @sexualityexpert. And what I mean by that is our sensuality is how we actually experience the external world. It is our sensor. It is how we determine, you know, what feels good and what doesn't, what smells good, what tastes good. All of those things are part of your sensuality. And now I want to throw in a pop quiz. So I want you guys to comment and share what is your opinion of what is the most important sexual organ. Most important sexual organ. Brain. Yes, Pip. Pip got that one on point. And then Betty and Finding Freedom, you guys have beat me to my second question, which is the largest? And the largest is definitely the skin. So, you know, those are two really big ahas for a lot of people, that it's not your penis, it's not your vagina, it's not your anus, it's not your breast, it's not the nipples, it's really your skin and your brain. And how often, you know, and feel free to comment here, guys, how often do you just take your body and your skin and your brain for granted? Being centered. Yes, it's all about being centered. So often, you know, we take these for granted. We don't connect our sexuality with the fact that it's already part of us. The sex organs themselves are actually part of your sexual health and reproduction, but they are part of what adds to your sensuality. So I'm just distinguishing here, you know, skin and how the skin is part of your sexuality and sensuality from, you know, your genitals, which is what most people think about when they think about your sexuality or even sensuality, right? When you think of sensual, it's been taught to us through media that, you know, to be sensual is to be sexy and provocative and erotic, and that's part of it, right? But really, it's how are you connected to that awareness? How are you in tune with your body each and every day? That really adds to the rich experiences that you can have through your sensuality. Okay, so another aspect of your sensuality, how can you improve your sensuality? Yes, we will get there. Thank you for asking. One way is imagination. So one big aspect of sensuality is fantasy. And, you know, often we do not, I know I do this at times. I don't fantasize enough. I don't even think outside the box in terms of, you know, my imagination. And that is really where a lot of your sensuality can unfold, can reveal itself to you. So really take time. You know, I recommend you all do this activity, is to take 5-10 minutes and just sit with yourself and really connect to what it is that you desire, what are your fantasies, and how that would change your experience in this world, right? Because when we seek out something, you know, we're always meeting needs. And hit up Finding Freedom if you want to know more about needs. She's a great resource on, just tapping into those needs and fulfilling them. So, really connect to who you are through your body, through your senses. How are you tasting the world? How are you listening to the world? So often there's so much chatter happening in our minds that we don't even stop and take a minute to look up and look at the sky and just take in that visual, right? And let it just embody us and engulf us, right? And the same thing, when we're with someone else and when we're experiencing sensuality with someone else, it can become, a barrier if we are not tapped into our own sensuality, but also if we're not tapped into what is sensuality in itself, right? Because you have these needs and you might come to a relationship expecting for that to fulfill those needs, when really that's just you self-expressing with that person. Your needs are really met by you. You can exchange energy with someone else and really have a great, powerful experience, but really it starts at home with you. The more I meditate, the more I enjoy sex. Yes, that is normal. When you meditate, you are connecting to your true essence, right? And that is sexual energy. It feeds us, it nourishes us, it keeps us moving through life in fun, exciting ways. And that is part of it. And that exchange of energy, yes, Betty, that exchange of energy is, that yin and yang, positive and negative. There's that interaction that really adds to our life and gives it a richness that, is really unique to the human experience. So with partners, I wanted to get into that a little bit more, right? Because often we are scared to share. And I'll go a little more deep into that. We are scared to share our fantasies with someone else. We are, I would say, even scared to share them with ourselves. A lot of people have thoughts or fantasies that they just don't want to even think that are there and really suppress them. One of the things that I tell my clients, I tell people who ask me, how do you manage your desires? And it's really, some desires will come up and they are true desires, right? They are true expressions of who you are and are meant to be part of you and of your expression in this world. And then some are just fantasies, right? So if you look into it a little bit more, if you do some research, if you even try it once or twice, you might realize, actually, this is not what I want, right? And that's okay, right? It's all about exploration. This entire human experience is about exploring yourself, exploring others, exploring the world, right? Through travel, through looking at things. Acceptance, yes, Betty. Acceptance of yourself. Yes, finding freedom. Thank you. Being curious is so important. Curious with yourself and curious with your partner. And really having that playfulness, right? Part of sensuality is being playful. And that comes into some of the other circles as well, right? Playfulness. But you really need to explore and really be in tune with yourself. And one of the things that sensuality also encompasses is your sexual responses, right? So 2 days ago, I was on a Periscope and someone was talking about, being centered and being in alignment with yourself. And then out of nowhere, it turned into, well, some people can't really orgasm because they're not centered, they're not in alignment with themselves, they're not in tune with their body. And really that was a drastic shift for that Periscope. I don't know if it's just my energy coming into the room, but definitely something that impacts your sexual response is how you relate to your own body and how you relate to other bodies. So if you're really bogged down in thoughts, judgments, thinking, you know, this person doesn't want me, doesn't love me, won't like this, it's really not true. So many people out there will tell you, you know, we are really scared of what we already know. The unknown is possibility, and that is actually quite exciting to me, and can be really exciting for others. And yes, it's about letting go of control, being in acceptance, loving thyself. You know, those are the basics. And throughout, you know, the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go further into how, you know, concrete steps on how to connect with each one of these circles on a deeper level. So the first tip I gave for, you know, this class is really take time every day, make this part of your sacred practice, and every day connect to how you feel about your body, what your body is telling you, you know, appreciate it, and really take stock of, you know, what is my sensuality telling me? What is the world telling me through my body? And how am I interacting with the world through my body? Because that's really going to help you just tune in and explore that deeper. And the deeper you go with yourself, the deeper you will connect with others. So that is part of what I wanted to talk about tonight. The last thing that I want to talk about is, you know, the extreme that can happen when someone isn't really in tune with their sensuality, and also when they can't express it. So something that, you know, some people might have heard of, it's a new term, is called skin hunger. And this is when someone has been deprived so much of physical touch with someone else, even with themselves, that they have a craving, at times an insatiable craving to connect with skin, right? So that is, you know, like I said, the biggest organ is the skin, the biggest sexual organ. And, you know, so often, you know, we take our skin for granted. You know, I'm going to talk a little bit here about self-care, you know, taking care of your skin, really nurturing yourself, pampering yourself, whether that's a massage, a facial, anything that really connects you to you is really part of your sensuality. Anything that helps you tap into those senses, to how you receive stimuli, that is part of your sensuality. So those were the topics for tonight's talk. I will be back on in about 5 minutes in Espanol. So if you are down to listen to some more, stay tuned. If not, hasta mañana, until tomorrow morning. Love you unconditionally.